guys, Jordan here. So I figured I'll show you and begin to show you just a couple of the shoulder mobility exercises or routines that we go through to assess mobility and then can progress through stability and strength motion. So I'm going to show you guys how we do this. I actually have the Atom braces on today. They are not connected to anything just yet. So I'm going to show you guys some of the routines and how we can position our hands. So let me back up a little bit here. You guys can see a little bit more of my shoulders. Okay, number one, the scapula moves primarily in 4 directions, and then we're going to get into an advanced rotation of it. So 4 directions, we have elevation and depression. Okay, now elevation is really as high as you can bring your shoulders up to your ears, and depression is going to be as far away you can drive your shoulders away from your ears. You'll realize that you can actually push your shoulders down really, really far. And now for some of you who don't have the best mobility, this is what you'll begin working with, right? So we start off all of our programs mobility, then added stability, then we can work into strength. Okay, so elevation, depression. Now we also have protraction. I don't know how well you guys can see it there. So here's a side view. Here's standard. Here's protraction. And here's retraction. Okay, so protraction, retraction, elevation, and depression. Now these 4 movements are they're very strict. So once you can go ahead and protract, retract, elevate, you can now begin to try and circle out the shoulder. Now again, my hand positioning for these exercises or these mobility trainings does not really matter, okay, because the scapula works independent of your hands and wrists. Up, and we can roll forward. Eventually, I mean, not while we begin, the first thing that you would like to do is to start with just practicing the motions individually. Elevation, now we can go all the way to protraction, go through depression, protracted depression, and then back to depressed retraction. Okay, so hope that comes out clear in the video, but you then move from those 4 motions into what would be a rolling motion, which is more at least congruent with the way that we engage in daily life. So we can bring our arms up, depress, shoulder through. Now moving your elbows throughout this motion will help you get a better stretch and flexion throughout the entirety of the routine. This is because we actually push the scapula or pull the scapula into place. So right here, we are fully depressed. I'm going to spin all the way around. Fully depressed and retracted. We can elevate and be retracted. We can come forward and be elevated and protracted, and then move back into depression, okay, and retraction, right? And now this motion right here is what we really want to work on when we develop shoulder strength. Now, these motions get much more advanced. Remember, that is the mobility side of it. But now, if you were to increase some type of strength, or we'll start with stability training, motions with the Atom brace become very, very simple. Let me show you in a second. Okay, here is our waistband bundle kit. Check it out. It's pretty simple. It's a fully adjustable one-size band brace pack, and you get 2 elastic band cables, short elastic band cables with the sleeve on it. It's very nice. They probably extend to about 2 feet total in length, but about half a foot altogether. So I'm going to put the band brace on, and I'm going to show you guys how easily we can start beginning a stability routine just through scapular function. Okay, this is not full shoulder function. Rather, this is primarily just scapular function. So here's a better angle for you guys to see how the waist belt clips on. You're going to put one side over the other. For me, I will go to the second buckle here, loop this through, and pull it around. Very easy. As you can see, the sides or the back, you'll have your rings here, right? And we are attaching to the bottom ring for these exercises, okay? Both sides, both lateral on the bottom ring. Now you're going to go ahead and take this, and take the band, and you're going to actually cross them. I think you guys can see you're going to cross them over. So your left band will go on to your right arm, and your right band will go to your left arm. All right? Now very easily, we're going to pull through, and we're going to connect over to the first interior elbow ring. Here, same thing on the other side. Going to connect over. Sorry. And from here, we're going to begin stability training specifically just through the brace. Okay, so let me show you what stability training works through. All right, so Atom braces are on, waist belt is on, the rings are now, or the straps are now connected, so we have resistance at the top end of the motions, but no resistance at the bottom. So we've assessed our mobility. We've figured that, all right, our mobility is good enough. We can now begin to try and increase stability throughout certain functions or motions. Okay, so we're going to begin with a pressing motion and a lifting motion upwards. Now, these motions are going to be very slow and controlled. And what I want you to focus on is now elevating and depressing the scapula. You're going to have some protraction and retraction here as well. Okay, so the angle itself, so remember, so protraction, or sorry, elevation, depression, protraction, retraction. But we roll our shoulders in normal life, right? Our shoulders don't only go up and then down and then forward and then back, right? They don't. They go in all directions all the time, like a circle, right? You go through all these. So as we go through a press or a lift, we are experiencing some level of elevation and some level of protraction. Okay, so this is what we want to work on. So now we can begin to strain, and we're going to do a static hold up here. We're going to go test our end range of protraction. So really, really drive your shoulders as far forward as possible from here. And now you can lift the scapula from here while enduring protraction. I would recommend you go through at least 10 to 15 reps of these, of protracted elevation, before you go ahead and change over sides. So now our retraction motions are going to be better when we flip the band around. So I'm going to show you those in a moment, but let's continue working on some protraction and elevation work. From here, we can bring our arms out to the side. Now remember, I have resistance on my waistband. All right. I got to stand all the way back here so you guys see. You should be able to see the waistband connection here from the bottom here. All right, so we're pulling and pushing. What we want to go ahead and practice are those protracted elevation and depressions, but we can also practice our elevated protraction and retractions. Okay, so from here, protraction, and we're just going to go ahead and pump out these retracted motions and protractions several times just at this static hold at the top. Now we're not getting a lot of resistance on the actual muscles that involve protraction and retraction, but what we're doing is we're pulling the arm down, right? So we're pulling the arm down while going through these scapular motions, all right? And what that does is it builds the strength around the surrounding muscles that allow you to support the rest of your shoulder, okay? So you go through all of those. Remember, protraction, retraction. We're developing frontal delt and trapezius strength here because we have to go ahead and hold our arms up. This is what dynamic mobility training is, or sorry, dynamic stability training is. We are moving through the motions while providing some level of resistance and allowing our body to build and stabilize the joint independently of the movements. All right, so did a couple of those, and now I think you guys can see me relatively well here, at least the entirety of the body, so you can kind of see how, from my waist belt that is, you can kind of see how the band package works itself. Okay, so we're going to go through just a couple of CARS motions again, and now this backwards brace with elastic band package allows you to do protracted and elevated exercises with resistance. Okay, this is a CARS. It's a controlled articulated movement or rotation of the shoulder. It's everything that I just described earlier, just in real time and full speed. Okay, and you can see how beneficial the Atom brace is to go ahead and allow for more stable and structured exercise positions, especially when we go through advanced scapular work like this. All right, so here we are. We're going to go through again. Elevation, depressions, protractions, retractions. All right, we're going to flip this around now. We're going to provide resistance towards the front of the motion. We're going to see how easy it is to manipulate these bands here. All right, you guys should be able to see me and at least and hopefully hear me loud and clear. We're going again single same band inside ring, or sorry, cross patterned band stabilization on the inside ring of the Atom brace. Now from here, because the bands are now pulling our arms inward, okay, so the band wants me to be here, I want to be here, okay, so it is pulling us this way. This is how we begin to develop a better retraction type of strength versus the other ways were more protraction, strength, and stability exercises. So now we're going to go ahead, very similar motions. We're actually going to do a victory Y, and from here we can then depress, elevate, and this is no tension through protraction, but all the tension will be on the elevated retraction. Okay? Now we can go through these motions similar to what we did before. We're going to elevate and depress. Elevate and depress. And our body, or our arms, are being pulled inside right now. So all the resistance is on the rhomboids and the trapezius and your spinal erectors, really holding that scapula in place. Again, elevate and depress, elevate and depress. This is dynamic stability work. This is what we want to improve, because guess what? You know what we're doing with these muscles? We're picking things up off the top shelves of the counters and bringing them down and setting them down. We're picking up groceries. Okay, you see how look at the angle. We're picking up groceries. We're moving the couch. We're moving the table out of our way because we need to clean. These are the muscles that are involved in daily living. We want to improve our stability from there as much as we possibly can. Okay, so go through a full flexion. We are right now completely retracted. This is full depression. This is full elevation with retraction. Sorry, sometimes I pin my head. When you go through these motions, try and keep your neck tucked down. So here it is, depression, elevation, depression, elevation, depression, elevation. And you can do these with your arms all the way out here, right? So we can depression, elevation. All right, so what did we learn, just to recap? What we learned is that we first assess mobility of the scapula in order to understand our own limitations. Listen, if you can't do this without if you can't go through the full mobility test with zero pain or without full range of motion, you've got some things to work on completely outside of resistance. Our next step is to then, once we have at least conquered or established our mobility end ranges, we can then begin to increase stabilization. So how do we increase stabilization? By adding slight resistance in different areas across the arm in order to provide slight levels of resistance at end range motion. Whoa, all right? So the idea is that when you lift your arm, this band here is pulling you down. You're just going to sit here and practice your scapular function with slight levels of resistance pulling you down. A strength training exercise would make you go through these motions with 10, 15 reps or so. But rather, we're staying at end range and we're going to go through our car motions with slight resistance pulling us either down towards our body or pulling us away out from our body. All right, so we have our front band system, rear band system. You can even do these on an elastic band or cable system like you see these here. You can do them just at the gym, but I do highly recommend you get the full set all together to make things a little bit easier. In the next videos, we're going to show you how to immediately implement strength routines into this type of program. Now, you guys let me know if this was helpful or not. I hope the video came out clear and you were able to see the shoulder function. Again, this is Jordan here with Adam Rehabilitation, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.